Pretty much everyone's heard the name Confucius. We think of wise little sayings, right? But what if I told you he wasn't just some philosopher, but an architect? A guy with a radical blueprint designed to rebuild an entire civilization that was literally on the brink of collapse. Let's dig into his design.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How do you put a society back together when it's completely fallen apart? This was the most urgent question of his time. But let's be honest, it's a question that feels pretty relevant today too. And the answer Confucius came up with, well, it was really specific and honestly pretty surprising. Okay, so to really get what he was trying to do, you have to picture the world he was born into. We're talking about the late Zhou Dynasty in China. And when I say chaos, I mean absolute, non-stop, relentless chaos. Just try to imagine a world where the social contract, that basic trust between people, has been completely shredded. The rulers weren't there to serve the people. They were just lining their own pockets. And that trust that holds everything together, poof, it was gone.
So this goes way beyond just political instability. We're talking about a deep moral rot. Warfare wasn't just a threat, it was constant. Respect for your elders, for tradition, that had all but vanished. The whole society was basically suffering from a profound crisis of character. This is the broken world Confucius was trying to fix. And right into the middle of all this chaos steps this one guy. We know him as Confucius, or Fuzi in Chinese. And he truly believed he had the solution. Not new laws or bigger armies, but something way more fundamental. His life, well, it was a real struggle. He was born into a family that had seen better days, and he had these huge ambitions. He desperately wanted a government job so he could put his blueprint into action. But, the corrupt rulers of the day, they just weren't interested. So, frustrated, he turned to teaching, and he ended up becoming this incredibly influential voice, but from outside the halls of power. And the truly ironic part? He died thinking he was a total failure, with no idea of the incredible legacy he was about to leave behind.
Now, this is super important. Confucius didn't see himself as some kind of revolutionary. He saw himself as a restorer. He genuinely believed that all the tools they needed to fix their broken world were just hidden in the past, in the wisdom of what he saw as a golden age. His whole mission was to hit the restore button and bring that wisdom back.
Okay, so here it is, his actual blueprint. And it's so elegant, it's brilliant. His idea was this: to create a better society, you first have to create better people. Simple as that. It all starts right here with this one concept, Ren. Think of Ren as the concrete foundation of the entire building. It's that genuine, heartfelt compassion and empathy you feel for other people. This isn't some rule in a book you have to follow. It's a quality you have to actively cultivate deep inside yourself. Everything else gets built on top of this. So, if Ren is that inner feeling, Li is the outer action. It's the set of rituals, the proper behaviors that give a structure to all that goodness. And it covers everything, from these huge grand state ceremonies all the way down to the simple, respectful way you're supposed to serve tea to an elder. Li is what turns your inner compassion into a reliable social code that everyone can understand. And what's the end goal of all this work? It's to become a Junzi, what we'd call the superior person. And this is key. A Junzi isn't someone born with a fancy title. A Junzi is someone who, through intense self-cultivation, has perfected their inner Ren and expresses it flawlessly through their practice of Li. They basically become a moral role model whose very presence inspires everyone around them to be better. So you see how it all fits together, right? It's a bottom-up revolution. It doesn't start with some new law from the emperor. It starts with you. You work on yourself, you perfect your conduct, you become a moral example. And then that harmony, it radiates outward, from you to your family, to your community, and eventually to the entire country. So remember how I said Confucius died, thinking he'd failed? Well, plot twist. A few hundred years after his death, his ideas became the official operating system for the entire Chinese empire. See, after this other brutal dynasty collapsed, the new emperors needed a philosophy that put order, duty, and social harmony first. And Confucius's blueprint? It was the perfect fit. Just look at the difference here. The shift he was pushing for was absolutely massive. He was trying to move society away from chaos and brute force and toward one built on harmony and moral leadership. He argued that a ruler's right to rule shouldn't come from their bloodline, but from their virtue. For that time, that was a truly radical idea.
And here's the kicker. His blueprint didn't just work for a little while. It endured. For over 2,000 years, Confucianism was the central pillar of Chinese civilization. It shaped the government, the culture, the daily life of billions of people. The ideas of the man who died thinking he failed became the very foundation of an empire.
And we're not just talking about some vague philosophical influence here. His impact was incredibly concrete. That whole idea that government officials should be chosen based on their merit and moral character, bam, that's where the civil service exams came from. His focus on family and respecting your elders, that became the bedrock of social life. His philosophy was literally the curriculum they used in schools. He didn't just influence the culture, he was its architect. Okay, so that's all fascinating ancient history. But what does this blueprint from thousands of years ago mean for us, right here, right now, living in our own kind of chaotic world? Why should you care? Look, if you take away just one thing from all this, it should be this. Confucius put the responsibility for a good society squarely on the shoulders of the individual. He believed that real, lasting change in the world begins with changing yourself. And that really leaves us with a powerful question, one we all have to wrestle with, doesn't it? In our culture, which so often celebrates personal freedom and individual achievement above all else, Confucius would ask us to stop and think about the exact opposite idea, that maybe our most fundamental duty isn't to ourselves, but to our relationships, to our family, our community, and to our shared humanity. It's an ancient idea, but it has some pretty profound things to say about our world.